Hey, it's Joe Amoia, the smarter dating guy. Today I'd like to talk about hurricanes of love, hurricanes in your love life. There's probably no subject that's more appropriate this week than to talk about hurricanes. Right now I'm in New Jersey. I'm actually right in the middle of everything that's happened this past week. And I can literally walk out my front door to see the devastating effects of this hurricane. But something interesting happened this week as I was watching the news. What I noticed that there were individuals who've had everything destroyed. Their homes have been completely demolished. And yet these individuals have such an air of confidence about the future. And they're not ignoring what's happened, but they realize that what's going to help them and what's going to serve them better is them focusing on going forward and just dealing with the ramifications of the storm. And yet there were other individuals who are a little inconvenienced. Their houses are fine, but they've got to stand in line a little long, to get some gas. And yet they're literally starting fistfights with each other. So it absolutely amazes me that you have individuals who've gone through the worst of the worst and they have these great attitudes and they're able to deal with whatever life is throwing at them. And you have these other individuals who are a little inconvenienced, who do not experience anywhere near the losses, and yet their whole world is upside down. And it really made me think as I watched the news and they started interviewing all these victims of the hurricane, and you just see how they adapt. And so I started thinking, it's very similar to how we adapt to hurricanes in our love lives. Those storms which on the surface appear to devastate us, but when we really get real, we realize that it's how we react. And so what I've noticed that there are three major characteristics of those individuals who survive and thrive under circumstances like this. And I'd like to share them with you today. The first one is that they really have what I call is an attitude of gratitude. Yes, these people have lost everything. They've been devastated, but yet they still find a way to focus on what they're grateful for. They focus on what they have, not what they don't have. They focus on what's right, not what's wrong. So anytime we have an experience such as a hurricane in our love life, it's very easy to get caught up in the emotions and feel sorry for ourselves and to point fingers of why it's not fair. But look, no one ever said life is fair. But if you can start, focusing on being grateful, you're going to note for what you do have, you're going to notice it's going to be much easier for you to get through the problem. And the second thing I've noticed is that these individuals tend to focus on where they're going. They tend to focus on the future and the positive place where they want to get back to. What I've noticed is that when we go through hurricanes in our love life, what happens for most of us is we look at it and we focus on things not working out. We usually just see, here we go again. It's not meant to be. And I think a lot of that comes down to our fears. We're afraid that to get our hopes up and to get excited. So we almost suppress ourselves. And unfortunately, when we suppress our feelings, we suppress our emotions, we never get to experience that true happiness and fulfillment that we're looking for. One of my favorite expressions is you can't get the good fruit unless you're willing to go out on a limb. And so if you've had a hurricane in your love life, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been emotionally devastating, but try to focus on the good. Try and focus on the possibility of where you want to go. Don't continue to look over the past and focus on the damage. Focusing on the damage isn't going to help you go forward. And the third thing that I've noticed that these individuals who survive and thrive tend to do is they tend to give good meaning to what's happening in their life. So what do I mean by that? What I've noticed as human beings is that we can give any event, any experience in our life, whatever meaning we want to give it. So let's use the hurricane, for example. Those individuals who have had their things demolished or destroyed can simply look back and say, my life is over. This is the end. I've got nothing to look forward to. But yet they don't. And it's so obvious when you watch the news and you hear these people being interviewed. Okay, they're not angry. Sure, they're upset. Their feelings, are hurt because of what they're going through. But there's an air of optimism in their voice because the meaning they give it is that this is just another speed bump in life. They know that they're going to get through this. And it might not be tomorrow. It may be a while. But they know somewhere, somehow, that the sun is going to come out again. And so one of the things I've noticed is probably one of the most important things we do in our life is the meaning we give to things. So if you have a hurricane of love in your past, or maybe you're going through one right now, what you want to do is see, what meaning are you giving to it? Are you giving the doom and gloom that this is it, it's never going to happen, or you're afraid that, if you get back out there, you're going to get hit by another hurricane? Or are you saying, you know what? Yeah, this sucks. It's not what I wanted, but I'll deal with it. And you know what? I'm going to put myself out there, and in the event I get hit by another hurricane again, then I'll deal with that. But my grandmother always used to say, 90% of the things you worry about never happen, and of the 10% that do happen, there's nothing you can do to change them. So I think worrying is a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Not to say that I don't do it. We all do it. But I think to live in a place of worry really, really keeps us from experiencing what we really want in life. So you might want to go back and watch this video again, because these 3 tips will really help you get through anything in life, any hurricane, any storm, whether it's a storm in your love life, whether it's an actual hurricane that's destroyed all your personal belongings, whether it's with your job, whatever it may be. These 3 factors are critical if you're going to move on and ultimately create what it is you really desire in life. So as always appreciate your feedback. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them below. And if you know anybody, whether they're going through the effects of the hurricane or they're going through something else in their life and you feel this may benefit them, please pass it along. We'll see you next week. God bless.